So the next thing I'm going to do is use the layers palette. You can see I've got it open here. If you haven't and you want to open it, the keyboard shortcut is Shift, Control and L. Just click on that. And at the moment we've just got one layer. I'm going to click this Create New Layer icon here. And I'm just going to call that Blend. And it's going to be positioned above the current layer. You can choose below or a sub layer. I'm not going to cover those in this video, so that will do. And so that we don't disturb any of the work that I've done already, I'm going to click this icon here, which is a little padlock, to lock that layer. So any work that I do is now going to be on this blend layer, and that is unlocked. So if I click on any of the work that I've done already, try to select it, nothing happens because it's all been locked. So we'll go back to the blend layer. I'll zoom in. I'll do this junction here first. I'll just zoom into that. I'm going to draw a rectangle over this junction. So I'll get the rectangle tool and just draw a roughly equal rectangle. I'm going to convert that to a path, so it's Control, Shift and C. As you can see up there, object path is Shift, Control and C. So that's now a path. I want to get rid of the stroke on this, so I'm going to point to this X here, hold the Shift key, and I'll remove the stroke. And I also want to make sure it doesn't hide any of the stroke of the rest of the graphic. So if I get the Edit Pass by Nodes and zoom in, getting really close so that I get it accurate. So click on this node and just drag it across till it lines up with the edge of the stroke. Zoom back out. Do the same on this side. Carefully move it across. And zoom out. And we'll do the bottom part. There we go. And lastly, this one. So now what I want to do to hide this junction is give this a linear fill. So I'll go on to the fill and stroke palette, go on to the fill and choose this one, linear gradient. And again, choose the pencil edit gradient tool, and we just have two handles or nodes that we can adjust here. So we just pull these round so that the fill is vertical top to bottom. I'm going to turn off snapping at this time because it's not helping me. So I'll just move that close but not right to the edge. And I'm going to choose the colour for that one by using this dropper tool. Pick colour from image, so click on that, zoom in closely and just click there. And I'm going to do the same with this one. Click on that, get the dropper tool, zoom in closely, click on there. And what I also need to do is turn the opacity back up to 100% and make sure that these are also set at 100%, which they don't appear to be at the minute. So that seems to have done the trick now. Not quite. Still got a border there for some reason. I'm going to try that again. Get the dropper tool and click on there again. That's better. So now we have a nice blend from blue to green. And what I can also do is copy that and use on this junction over here and these two junctions as well. So click on that rectangle, Control and D, move it over here, rotate it through 180 degrees by pressing the rotate through 90 twice. And now I'll zoom in closely. Line that up. Just check the other side. That looks fine. And I don't think I even need to do an adjustment on that. I'm going to just click off and that's a fair blend there. Duplicate that again, Control and D, and we'll move around to the bottom, rotate it anti-clockwise once, move that over there, just make sure we are lined up with it, not quite. And that looks okay as well, so that's also a nice blend. Click on it once more, duplicate, and do the fourth one here. Just realised it is back to front, so I will rotate twice through 90 degrees, and that also looks fine. So all we have to do now is to take care of these four junctions here. These junctions are a little bit more tricky because rather than just straight rectangles, they have curves on either side of them. So let's zoom in, start on this one. And I'm going to use the draw Bezier Curves tool, click on that, zoom in nice and closely, and click once there, zoom out and back in again. Hold the control key down to keep it constrained vertically. I'm just going to click approximately where I need it there and adjust them afterwards. Click again there, back to the beginning, it turns red and we have our rectangle. So let's get the Edit Pass by Nodes tool, zoom in closely and get this node touching the stroke. Move over to the other side, do the same there. What's happened there? Just Control Z. That's okay, and then moving back towards the center, just pull this edge until it meets the other line. A little bit missing there. And that looks pretty good. Just check these are lined up properly. Okay, and just drag this down a fraction. There we go. And now we need to apply a linear gradient to that. Get the edit gradient. Oh, that's the wrong way around. That will do. So that looks okay. Let's move over to another one. I'll do this vertical one next. So we'll get the Bezier tool again. And I'm not going to zoom in, I'll just do it roughly and then I'll zoom in to adjust them later. Get the Adjust Path by Nodes tool, Edit Path by Nodes, and zoom into that. Move across to the other side. And nudge that over a touch. Bottom corner. Zoom in again. There we go. Just going back up to about the centre, about here. There we have the old stroke that we're trying to cover up. Do the same over here. And Bob's your uncle. So now we need to give that a stroke. Just get the select tool, so we've got it selected. And click on the linear gradient. Get the edit pencil tool. And I think it's that one, but it won't do any good because I need to turn the gradient round using these handles, and I've got that the wrong way around anyway. Let's see if we can alter the other one. I need to click on this one, I think. And actually we'll do that one first and we'll use the dropper again. Just click on here to pick up the blue colour, click on that one, and for some reason I've lost the gradient on this. Let me just check I'm on the correct layer. Yes, I am. Why that has been lost, I have no idea. And I've lost these as well. So I need to move this gradient through 90 degrees to match up the rest. And that looks okay. So that's the main part of the artwork finished. So all that remains to do is to add a drop shadow and a background. Before I do that, I'm going to simplify this by going back to a single layer. So I'm going to select all that, and I'm on the blend layer, and cut it. So I'm doing Control and X. I'm going on to layer 1 and right click and paste, and just move that back over the center. If I click on the blend layer now, I can dispose of that. So I'll click on this delete current layer. The background layer has nothing on it, so I'm going to delete that as well. Now I'm just going to make a duplicate of this. So Control and D and turn that black. I'm going to turn snapping off, zoom in, and just drag this down a bit and just make sure I've got no stroke on that black object. There we go. Zoom out, and going back to the fill and stroke palette, I'm going to reduce the opacity of it a little, perhaps a bit more, and just add a slight blur, and then send it down to the bottom. So now we have a nice drop shadow. I'm going to zoom out a bit and select all of that and group it. So I'm going to Object and Group. Now I'm going to go to Edit and Resize Page to Selection. And I'd like to show the page border, so I'm going to bring up Document Properties, Control Shift and D for document. Show page border. Now the reason this looks bigger than the object is that this has gradient fills and some of the controls extend beyond the artwork, so the page has sized itself to that, but it's left a nice space around it, so I'm quite happy with that. So I'm just going to grab the rectangles tool, turn back snapping on, and we've got snapped page border, so we will click and drag across there. Change that to a path, Shift, Control and C, and going back to the fill and stroke palette, I'm going to increase the opacity of that back to 100%. Go to the radial gradient tool, and I'm going to move these round to the corner, and then in the middle I'm going to turn that yellow, and the corner one I'm going to turn dark blue. Just going to zoom out a little bit and turning snapping off again. Just going to move those out a fraction just to increase the area of the yellow part in the centre. Get the select tool and move that to the bottom, and that looks like a finished piece. Now you probably want to print that or export it as a JPEG image so that you can put it on social media and the like. So if you do Control Shift and E, that brings up the export dialog. Click on the page, and then in Export As, you can change the location of where you want to save it, and I'll keep that one. Choose a file name, just call it demo export.png, save, and then to actually do the export you have to click on this export button here, and that will show the progress of it creating the ping file. So that concludes my tutorial on creating this 4-leaf clover Celtic knot artwork. Thank you for watching. Something that I neglected to mention near the beginning of this series of tutorials, when I created the original graphic using the regular polygon tool, and we had 4 corners selected here, so I'll just hold the control key, shift key and drag out, and we get a square. If I increase the roundedness of it, we get the shape that I started out with. Obviously it was stroked and didn't have a fill, but this series of videos is actually the basis for making lots of variations on this. For example, if you make it 5 or 6, And you can also do things like this to make different overlaps and have shapes interleaving with them, etc, etc. For example, you could just have a small ellipse, just reduce the stroke size on that. I've no idea why that came out so big. Stroke style, let's make that 5 or even 3. There we go. So you could, let's put that through 90 degrees. Do things like that, and just to show you quickly, just duplicate that and rotate through 30 degrees, I think. Apply that. Oh, it's more than 30, it's 60 degrees, but apply it again. Duplicate again. Duplicate again, etc. So there's lots of things you could do, and then you could cut these paths to make the interleaving Celtic knot style that I produced in the video. So that's just to give you some more ideas.